Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. It is a PartyCast. We've got the PartyCast crew here. Pernell is here, Brooke is here, Tim is here, Chris is here. How is everybody doing?
I need more marmalade, but otherwise, I guess, terribly. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
That's what I love to hear, sir.
How about everyone else?
I mean, I didn't think I needed marmalade, but now, I realize I do, and I was doing good, but now, man, I don't even know.
Everybody was so chatty marmalade before I started recording, and now that we're recording, everyone's like,
It's true.
No.
To be fair, I wasn't saying much of shit before we started recording either.
Yeah, so Tim's the only consistent one.
Yeah.
True.
I'll have, I'm always mute. Deal with it.
We got that stage fright. that apprehension about, accidentally making fun of other people that do what we do, but have it actually be on record.
In our defense, it's never me. I never make fun of nobody. It's more like, hey, this is what makes you unique from us, and that's cool.
Unique.
Everyone's a little different, so there it is. It makes sense to me.
We need to keep a counter of how many times we say it each episode.
Yeah, we do.
Well, once you start the counter, we're going to start intentionally doing it. So
the last time I was counting was one of Pernell's reviews. He said unique 3 times and boutique once.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Boutique.
I remember writing that one down.
I can't remember how many times Aki said the F word in that one episode where I just joined in the Twitch chat to count. But I think it was was it 40s? In the 40s, or it was 14?
Were you around when Carnage redeemed the reward to not curse?
Yes, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
What? Redeem the reward to not curse?
Yeah, there's little rewards you can redeem on Twitch using channel points for, you earn by just watching and hanging out. And one of the options is called Oh Fuck. And when they use it, we cannot swear for 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So he dropped that right before Aki's review, and you can just imagine. It was very, very well-used wild card there.
Yeah, Aki broke. She just shut down. She's like,
she did it, though.
If I can't swear, what can I do?
There was a character. And
maybe the no dirty language filter is what produces people to just start repeating words like unique and
Ooh.
As opposed to it's fuck.
It's I can't say what I want to say, so here's a cliche.
It's it's like Jacob and always going on the show, I feel like that's a normal click. He does it excessively.
I put that in more of a vocal tick. I don't think that. For some people, I guess saying the word unique is a vocal tick that they just do it so much.
Well, the thing with though, at least, is it's more akin to when you're thinking slower than you speak.
Yeah.
So you need to buy time to come up with a word. So you go, it's like, and then the words finally come to you. Now you have all the words. But if you just pause and then go into it, it's pretty much the same difference, except you're not liking everything.
Yeah, those buffer words. One of my buddies.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Yes. Smash that like button.
Man, don't say it. Keep saying that, and freaking Link's going to be in a lot of trouble.
But those buffer words where you need to fill in some space before you could find out what the fuck you're trying to say. My buddy Frankie, he's known online as Diggy Dis. He learned English online through IRC and chat and Yeah, that's how he initially learned English, and his buffer words for when he's trying to think of what to say is just fuck.
Yeah.
So fucking there's this thing, dude, where we fucking went to Taco Bell, dude, fucking I love talking to him just because he says fuck so much, but it's not in the Aki way. It's in a cute, adorable way because he's foreign.
Yeah.
It's like he's banned from every Denny's, every Applebee's.
I don't know. He's charming as hell.
Every Chuck E. Cheese.
Everyone loved him when he came to visit. Oh, man. I miss him. He's at my wedding. Good people.
I'll say you miss him. Where's he at?
He lives in Holland, the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's a miss him right there. Damn.
Yeah, I think last time I actually saw him was for my wedding. I think that's the last time I actually hung out with him. It might have been a one-up barbecue after that, but not much. Miss him.
That's unfortunate.
That's sad that you just drift apart from friends as you get older.
Yeah, everybody moves away, does different stuff, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Like especially when you live like in a was it like a bunch of my see, I just liked a couple things. But I've had a number of friends who moved to the West Coast from here, moved to Japan from here, just a number of different places. It is nice that thanks to like social media, one of the few good things it offers is that it allows us to keep in touch despite the distances. But it's not quite the same as being like, yo, I'm coming over, we're going to play some games and grill some burgers or something. Just, yeah, you do miss it. But at least we're not MIA.
I got to throw an SML barbecue and just invite all of you. Come on over and we'll have burgers and
I'm in.
We'll play X-Men or something.
Shit, I'll really come.
You do
so anyway, Tim, how are you doing? You're quiet today.
Come on, Tim.
Yeah, man. I'm keeping it chill, keeping it low key. It was a really long day of work yesterday and today, so it's one of those. So like, there's something.
I thought you'd be celebrating right now. School year's up.
That means nothing for me. I'm a 12-month employee. Like,
I'm not saying that you're not 12th employee, but I would assume just naturally your workload would come down if there's no students to be catering to.
Oh, the students aren't the problem.
Uh-oh.
No.
That's not cool.
Yeah, no, it is good. I do want the school year to be over so everybody goes away, but it's very busy until then. And that's the thing. Once it's over, then I stop being busy. So, but right now is busy.
Tim, I don't actually know what you do for a living. I'm slowly figuring out you work for some sort of school.
Yes, correct.
Nice.
I could just tell you, but let's just keep the hints drizzling out for months until Brooke figures it out.
Yeah, I do kind of like that. I'm curious, man.
You got to start taking notes. Like on episode 45-Q, you mentioned, and I quote, "The applesauce is getting bitter in the fridge at work." That implies that you work at a place that regularly stocks applesauce. That's a clue.
Oh my God.
You
guys
old folks home
with like red string all over it and like pictures of Tim and like people. They're like, "Where'd you even get these pictures of him, dude?"
It's like I'm a detective.
The thing is, you don't know what Tim looks like, so it's just random pictures that you found on like Photo Bucket.
Actually, that would be even better.
This could be what Tim looks like.
Pictures of
I mean,
Tim
like
Allen.
we're friends on Facebook. All the information is there.
Don't ruin this for them.
I know.
She has to not use Facebook to figure out what I do and what I look like.
You need to have like your little pocket notebook that you can just whip out at any point.
I made sure to note
Is this
that.
Blue's Clues now? Are we playing Blue's Clues?
I don't know. I'm too old for that.
Dude, man. So could be.
Brooks Clues.
But nice.
I made sure to note this. Just picture the idea behind that. Give her like a little cobblestone pipe or some shit.
By the way, while y'all were all talking about Tim's job and everything, I was studying the blade. I mean, looking up the linguistic classification of the words and like. They're called hesitators.
Ooh, okay.
Hesitators, all right.
Yeah.
I hesitate to believe that.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's on Cambridge.org. There's a whole long ass article about it, and I'm gonna do a unique count on it right now.
Ooh, thank you.
The word unique only appears once, and it's in a footnote.
Well, they're never going to make it an SML.
Well, at least it's a unique usage.
Yeah, hey.
Hey.
It is unique unto the other words in the article.
Carnage asking if he's supposed to see the Showtime channel on Discord. Yes, I want people to see it so they know we're in it, so we're not hiding. But people shouldn't be able to just join it. But fuck, try it if you want. I don't give a shit. Try it. See if it lets you join.
I'm not afraid. Actually, I am afraid. I'm very, very afraid.
Smash that join button.
Smash that join button.
Remember to click like and subscribe that join. Oh,
Lord, what if this was a call-in podcast?
If it was just an open podcast where people could jump in whenever they wanted to say. See, I was kind of playing with that idea of doing that, but I figured I would just limit that privilege to the hosts.
Well, Tom Green did that when he basically invented podcasts like 15 years ago.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Tom Green is kind of credited as one of the inventors of the podcast because he was the first person to just do one of the first people to do an entirely web-based long-form interview discussion kind of show that you could just download and play. Yeah, but he did his thing live from his house.
Sausage indeed.
And he had a phone number that you could just call while he was recording, and you could watch it be live streamed. And it was just from a server in his own house. It's like it was just going out over the internet. There was no other thing to support it. Yeah, it was really
awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't like early internet, but it was definitely early streaming. Like it was early days of YouTube, even.
It's pretty cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Good old Thomas Green.
So one of the first people to do a podcast and one of the first people to jerk off a horse on camera.
Right.
Good job, Tom Green.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, no. Was it on, is that on his show or in the movie? Because the movie is an elephant.
Movie.
The movie is an elephant.
I thought it was a horse.
He watches.
It doesn't matter.
Horse.
It's an animal and he janked it.
Yeah. I own that movie on DVD.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's unfortunate.
Was it Freddy Got Fingered?
Yeah, that's the one. The movie that nobody likes to discuss.
Yeah.
And for
Violence
good reason,
falls over
apparently.
the podcast.
So should we just get to reviews, or is there anything anyone wanted to talk about this?
When you talk about jerking off large land mammals, I think you've gone past.
I think we found the perfect transition here. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of jerking off animals, first game to talk about.
Goodness.
I was talking about this. I was going with discomfort.
Everyone talked at the same time, and I don't know what anyone said.
I just said the developer's going to love that intro.
Oh, yeah. That's why it's not the intro, and I'm stalling.
Trying to give space, wait for a slight tangent that won't take up too much time, so you can just pop in and...
Yeah. Anyway.
Video games are lots of fun.
Thanks, Pernell. First game to talk about tonight. Oh, I love you guys. First game to talk about tonight is called Cloud Gardens, developed by Noio, published by Coatsink, released June 16th on the Switch for $17.99. A chill game about using plants to overgrow abandoned wasteland dioramas. Tim, tell us about your time with Cloud Gardens.
Wow, that is a succinct bit of copy. Thank you, developers of Cloud Gardens. So this is like a, chill, relax. I don't know if it's cozy. Chill is the word they use. I think the harsh, abandoned urban environments prevent it from being cozy, but to each their own. What goes on in this game, and it is just like very straightforward. Is you're presented like a small little diorama, like a little piece of landscape that is some kind of abandoned urban area. It might just be like a little corner of like an abandoned lot with like a car in it, or some train tracks, or a highway with some signs going over it. But everything is dilapidated. It looks run down. No infrastructure investment has been happening, or nobody lives here anymore. So one of those two things is going on. And what you'll do is you will plant a seed. There are multiple different types of seeds and thus plants in the game. you will pop down a seed, and then, and this is somewhat inexplicable, as you decorate the area with various bits of like garbage and landscape, the plants will grow out to retake the scene in front of you. So the goal of each level kind of becomes to encompass it with plant life by strategically planting seeds or different types of seeds, because different plants will grow better on different surfaces. Like some are much better on like vertical hanging surfaces, and some grow better like on the ground. And some, you might make choices just based purely on the aesthetic you want to create in the level. So you want to cover a certain percentage of the 100% of the landscape. And once you do that, you move on to the next level. So that's it. That's really it. You can fail levels because like as the plants grow, they will sprout flowers that you can pick that will give you more seeds, and you get more seeds. You can plant more seeds down, and then it becomes easier to cover a level with greenery. So it's not just like a slam dunk necessarily that you'll pass every level. I definitely failed a couple early on when I was trying to get a handle on them, just the mechanics of what was going on.
Like, what is the fail state? How do you fail?
Like you run out of seed, you run out of stuff basically. Like you can't. You don't have enough seed. You don't have enough coverage on the level, and you don't have any more garbage to make your plants grow. To either get more coverage or to get more seeds. So there is like you actually cannot just sit there and like throw things at the level willy-nilly. Like you got to be kind of strategic with where you place the seeds and like where you place the bits, and trying to maximize growth on a particular plant so you can suck up the fruit. You get a couple of tools eventually for like quickly picking up fruit or sawing off bits of plant life. So this game, this is a port. This game came out on PC last year, and it's perfectly playable on Switch. Though I have to feel as though playing it with a mouse is much easier, and I think probably gives you a better level of fidelity and engagement with placing items precisely around the world. Sometimes I just had trouble just like getting things exactly where I wanted them. And like sometimes because they're just giving you kind of a piece of land, like floating in a void, like things can slip off the side of them. Like sometimes you'll drop things in and they won't land quite the way you want them to. And they can fall down and like break up bits of plant. And thus send your coverage percentage downward, which is no good. But at the heart of it, like there is something. I can see that there is something satisfying here for some folks, or many folks, possibly. And that just like you kind of get these levels and it's like a combination, like you're playing the game, you're placing these seeds, you're putting down decor around the level to try to make like, you can just make it ugly, sure, and get through the level. But if you place things, you can place things nicely it's really for your own satisfaction and edification. Like, oh, look at this cool little thing that I made. So you get kind of that visual tickle of like, oh, I did a decoration, I did an art with this kind of within this framework that they give you for a game. So there is a lengthy amount of levels to go through that the game has pre-made and presents to you. And there is also just a freeform like sandbox mode where you can kind of build levels to your own liking. You will unlock pieces as you play through the progression, and you can use those pieces all willy-nilly to just make your own levels and make your own little dioramas play around with, which is cool. My only problem with this game, and I don't want people to take this perhaps too seriously, even though this is my opinion and it's my review, is just like I was just kind of bored with it. It didn't really I can obviously, see its quality and how it will appeal to people. But for me personally, I was just kind of like, it just didn't quite like scratch the itch.
When I was looking at this, it reminded me somewhat of Unpacking.
Yeah, that's kind of definitely what I was hoping for, is something that would get that hook in me the way that Unpacking did, with just like placing things down and decorating something and being able to look at the final product. I feel like I think some of it might be, playing it on a console with analog sticks instead of a mouse, which is better. When I played Unpacking, I did play it on PC with the mouse. It's just, it's just easier to put things exactly where you want to and rotate them around and get at what you want to get to. And I kind of struggled with the sticks, like controlling the camera and getting the angle that I wanted to sometimes. And like sometimes you just can't get the angle that you want. Like something is just going to obstruct you. But, unlike Unpacking, to make a direct comparison, like Unpacking has a solid grid where you are placing items, and this does not have that. So you are just placing things wherever. And I think maybe not being able to quite lock things in and having like more slippery physics makes things like a little more herky jerky, little sloppier than maybe I would personally like. But I think that the stuff that you're making and like looking at it and looking at the finished product of some dilapidated urban center, like becoming overgrown with trees, and you did that. You were the hand of Mother Nature. Like, that is cool and satisfying, I guess, if you're into that, which, I do think it looks cool. It's just kind of the journey of getting there necessarily wasn't for me, but I think it will be definitely for some people. And there's like 100 levels at least in the game.
Oh, wow.
And then more you can, and then, it has the whole sandboxy mode, so you can build stuff yourself.
Well, it's sitting at $17.99. What are your thoughts?
So just keeping in mind, my personal opinion, I think the game is going to be worth it if you're looking at this and this is like up your alley, but I have to officially, quote unquote, give it a try it because, I tried it. And I don't know if it's for me. Like, if I had played a demo of it, I would kind of be like, okay, that's kind of neat, but it wouldn't have like really hooked me in. No. So I think that's fair. It's not like a negatory one, but just taking into my own feelings on the game, I got to be honest and be like, there is the possibility you won't like it, but a lot of people do. It is very positively reviewed on Steam. So yeah.
Well, it looks like a fun time. Carnage mentioned that it released on Xbox last year as well. I had no clue it released on Xbox, so I might have to check out that version and see if it's on sale or something.
And I wonder, what the heck was I going to say? Yeah, no, I think it's great for portability because no level's going to take you more than like a few minutes to kind of build out. So it's easy to kind of do a couple levels and go on.
Good portable game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, that is it for you, Tim.
Lovely. I want to sleep so bad.
Go night night.
There's like two kinds of Tuesday nights for me where it's just like, okay, it's after 10 and I want to get to bed because it's my beddy by time. But then there's like that one day a week or the one Tuesday out of the month where it comes after the Monday where I have to work overtime. Where I am just like, I have to get to sleep.
Where overtime?
Yeah, yesterday was, exactly. Why would I be working overtime only one Monday night a month? And it was a 14-hour day yesterday. I got home at 10:30. And then I'm like, I'm going to sleep in. And then I woke up like 12 minutes before my alarm would have went off. Which is how it goes.
Yeah.
The one bright spot, and we were, kind of to come back to, we were talking about, and now I'm just wasting everybody else's time because my time's done. We were talking about how, people, split off and branch off, and you kind of lose contact or lose touch and you don't see people like fucking randomly last night as I'm cleaning up and packing everything up, being intentionally ambiguous. Like I got a call out of the blue from a friend of mine who I haven't seen in some years, definitely pre-pandemic, and I had not talked to in a while, since then. and had a nice, and it was funny because she didn't mean to call me. She meant to call the person directly like above or below me in her contact list. But it didn't matter because it was just like, oh, this is very nice to hear from you. And I found out that like she recently moved back in the area, and I'm like, oh, that's great. It's awesome. And it was also very funny because she was just like, yeah, I want to, because such and such, the other person she meant to call is apparently very interested in like analyzing dreams. And she had some weird dream about
Jim
like,
or Tom.
Spider. Well, it has to do. That's a whole other secret identity that I have.
I see.
Because my name is not in her phone as Tim.
Ooh.
But
now I'm getting a little notebook out.
Yeah. Find Tim's secret identities. But it was just like this really cool random conversation that was just like, oh, hey, like she had been in California for a long time and now she's back and still 2 hours away. But, it was cool. Yeah. Just call people sometimes, even by
I hate the phone.
Me too. But, sometimes when somebody you haven't talked to in a while, it's just kind of like, hey, I don't know. It was great. It made my day. My very long, very tiring day. But I will stop wasting everybody else's time and let you all get on with your reviews. And I'm going to go to bed. Good night.
Night, Tim.
Good night.
Oh, my Lord. He just went on a tangent and he's like, peace, I'm done.
Amazing.
Just hang up. And he's like, no rebuttals, no responses. This is what I have to say, and I'm gone. Poof.
I'm glad he got that stuff off his chest. I hope he sleeps well tonight.
Anyway, we got to move on. Next game to talk about is Lost Ruins, developed by Altari Games, published by DANGEN Entertainment, released June 6th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, and PS5 for $19.99. A young girl wakes up in a dimly lit dungeon without any of her memories. Surrounded by horrible, bloodthirsty monsters, the girl is rescued by the magician Beatrice. With Beatrice's help, the girl goes on a perilous journey to find answers and unlock the secrets of the Lost Ruins. Pernell, tell us about your time in Lost Ruins.
You play as a girl who wakes up in a location that is unfamiliar to her. She has no memories. And the game kind of immediately says, okay, well, what would a girl who wakes up in this scenario do? She would walk forward and beat the crap out of goblins. That's what she does, because you pretty much get into combat pretty much immediately before you even meet Beatrice. It's like, oh, I hate to kill you, but I guess I had to. Damn, this place is weird. Anyway, and the entire game is essentially the idea of you exploring this profound location that you found yourself in, hoping for answers as to who you are, why you're in, what this place is, and why you're there. So the actual gameplay itself is basically another form of platform exploration game. Platform exploration adventure game. There, good. And as you're exploring the location, nope. I described it in the best way possible. There's no other word to use for it. Now, as you're exploring this location, you'll come across a variety of different weapons and magic spells which you can equip on your character to provide yourself with a multitude of different attacks. For the most part, the weapons don't perform too differently, but the most important aspect to their performance is a particular speed stat the game attaches to all of them. And it's kind of funny. It goes from slowest to fastest, like slowest, slower, slow, fast, faster, fastest, in that order. And of course, the higher up on the speed chain it is, the faster the weapon will swing. Though, for those who are used to action platform games, even fastest is going to feel fairly slow. That's because they designed this with the intent being for your combat to have the Souls-like feel, meaning you got to be more meticulous and methodical with how you perform attacks against monsters. And you're going to probably die a lot because healing in this game does not come regularly. There's no spot where you can just go to save your game and get all your health back. Instead, there are save spots, and there are even quick reload stations that you can come across. But if you die, you come back with the health you had when you died, and save points don't give health back either. Items, however, will give you health back when you come across them, which you can either get from item drops or from vending machines that are scattered across the world if you have the money with which to buy them. Healing items can do either immediate heal, those are less common, or heal over time, which would be equivalent to saying drinking a bottle of water to heal your magic points in the form of like maybe 10 MP over the course of 15 seconds. So no fighting a boss. Oh, I'm low on health and just chugging a thing right back to it. Though if you have items like that, it means you've hoarded them and you were smart. But also don't overuse them, otherwise you won't have them when you really need them. So the magic spells in this game also have the slowest to fastest casting speed time, but at the same time, they have elemental properties and the like, so you'll be playing around and playing it smart with them. But they also have some pretty cool environmental effects, too, or involved with the environment. So, for example, you might come across a bottle of oil. You knock it over with your weapon and then throw a fireball at it, and it catches fire, and any enemies that are in it will catch fire, too. Of course, that applies to you as well. If you happen to be in a pool of fire or oil, and either you or a monster ignites it, well, you're screwed. Cast a lightning spell in the water. It's great. So, but there are also interesting items that you can equip in addition to your weapon and spells that may alter your side properties and give you special qualities that can allow you to do different things, such as cast electric attacks in the water and not die from it. Or the most important types you come across, of which I found a few, items that will heal you over time just by having them on. When you find items like that, hold on to them for dear life, because that is the closest you're going to get to good quality healing without stressing over resources. Once you come across stuff like that, the game actually becomes a fair bit easier. It's not easy, but it does become easier, because you come across a room, enemies are giving you the business. You can literally just walk off screen, let the item heal you up, and then go right back to it, if you can. And there's even some cool item combos that I've come across too. My favorite that I pretty much came across, even after finding better weapons, was a literal throwable ham hock. It's a ham hock that you throw at enemies. It causes blunt damage and eventually returns back to you. But if you equip the item that's called a gauntlet, a slingshot, it increases throwable weapon damage by 100%. So you throw the ham hock, hang back for a second, the ham hock spans back to you, you pick it up off the ground, you throw it again. It's wonderful. I love them. I love the magic ham hock. It's cool. At the end of the day, I do find this game to be enjoyable. It's not too long. It doesn't wear out its welcome. And for the time you spend with it, though, you get that sense of exploration and the vibe of being like, what's over here? What's next? Fighting different monsters and the like. Part of me makes me wish that the combat was more fast-paced, but I get it. They were going for the slow, methodical Souls-like, and I don't just like that stuff either, so I'll live. Just knowing going into this, if you decide to play it, you need to be smart about your attacking and not just run up on guys, because if you do that, you're going to have a bad time. This is a fun title, and I genuinely would recommend it to fans of the genre. It holds its own.
So
and I even like the animation.
For the people who are worried about the difficulty, what difficulty setting did you play it on?
Honestly, for me, this is one of those rare times. I chose the base one, the default difficulty. I thought about switching it over to one of the harder two, but then I was like, for the sake of this, I just want to play it and not, get bogged down by, I couldn't get very far because I just got my butt handed to me. I didn't feel like this was one of those games I wanted to risk that. So this was default difficulty for me. So I think there's 4 total, and the base difficulty is the second out of 4.
Yeah, there's an earlier difficulty that makes it even easier. It actually gives you an item in the game called the Goddess's Blessing, which gives you an extra item slot. It reduces the enemy attack power and HP by 25%. It recovers HP and MP when you save. It regenerates an HP per second, and fire, ice, poison, and bleed damage do not stack.
This is an equipable that you get from the very beginning?
It's not an equipable. It's just a permanent item.
Oh, one of those permanent buffs. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty freaking cool. Yeah, because you do get additional item slots or accessory slots as you play through the game too. Like you'll find permanent items like that. They're not nearly as powerful.
Yeah. So for the people who are worried about a hard game, there is an easier option available. Dark Mika is asking if you finished the game and if you tried the boss mode.
I did not do boss mode. I played through, but I was like, nah, I barely have enough time to do this. So I didn't bother with the boss mode, but I did play around with it, which is close enough for me right now. But I'll go back to it because I like the game. So that's pretty much where I stand on that.
Nice. Well, the game is $20. What are your thoughts?
I honestly think it's a buy. It's a fun time, an enjoyable game, and it gives you enough content for the price, in my opinion.
Cool. Works for me. All right, moving on. Next game to talk about is a preview of We Stay Behind, developed by Backwoods Entertainment, published by ASHGames, releasing eventually on PC with a public demo available as part of the Steam Next Fest. A comet is on course to destroy Laburnum Creek, with writer Laura Tanner visits the former health resort to interview several inhabitants who are refusing to leave, but there's something rotten at the heart of this picturesque town, a story exploration game between dreams and reality. Brooke, what's going on in We Stay Behind?
A really good question, and the demo does not answer that, but just makes me that much thirstier to play the real deal. So, Joe, when you offered me this demo, I jumped the fuck on it because I saw this game was by Backwoods, and those are the people who made Unforeseen Incidents. That is the game I love. I adored that game. That game is super good, so I was like, I'll try this out. No questions asked. This is a very different game from Unforeseen Incidents, which is a 2D point-and-click adventure game that I reviewed for us a few months ago. This game also appears to be a mystery adventure game, but it's very 3D. And when they say, my description of the game was, interview the people of Laburnum Creek, explore a beautiful natural town, a beautiful national park, and unravel the secrets of this picturesque town. When they say explore a beautiful national park, they do mean beautiful. This game is gorgeous. It is really, really pretty. And, it kind of goes with the territory that is going to be a way different style of art, given that it's 3D opposed to the 2D game that they came out before. But it is, even given that, it's a very different style of art.
You want to know what else is a different style? It's a different style of review. It's one where you're not allowed to curse. Because our good buddy Carnage just redeemed a Twitch reward to prevent us from cursing for 10 minutes.
Carnage, you diabolical.
Hey, Carnage, you dog.
Let's start the clock and let's see how you do.
Okay. So if you heard my review a few months ago on the first game by Backwoods Entertainment, Unforeseen Incidents, I was really, 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 really impressed by that game. I wrote out all of those reallys in my notes here. I was impressed by a lot of it, but the two parts by far, in a way that I was most impressed by, was just the design of the story itself, since it is like a choose-your-own-adventure type game, the branching story, which this appears to be as well. A great story, great characters, and the visual art of the game, especially for a 2D game. This game looked fantastic. Really, really pretty, but also kind of charmingly cartoony. Unforeseen Incidences, I couldn't have been happier with the artwork of that 2D game. This game's super different style. Not only is it 3D with lots of little 3D models for like vegetation and shit, but it's oh man, I said that word.
You didn't even make it a minute.
Dang it!
So what happens when that happens?
Yeah,
we got to start over.
All right, the review.
No, the timer.
Just the timer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a fresh 10 minutes now.
Do it again.
Okay.
Fudge muffins. Scatter goals.
Okay. So. I kind of lost my place here. Hold up just a second. So yeah, this is a big game. Tons and tons of different vegetation, water, really elaborate like lake houses that are actually like, it seems like the houses in this game are designed by architects. They just make a lot of sense and look really good, especially for like lake creek houses. Long winding dirt roads, and making the art of this game, they clearly want to give us like a Lost in the Woods mystery type feeling, and it definitely pulls that off. And it's a lot less cartoony than Unforeseen Incidents. It's more realistic, which of course going for more realism with a 3D model game as opposed to a 2D model is an even bigger challenge. But one thing the devs clearly like are pointy houses next to lakes and creeks with plenty of coniferous trees to go around. These items abound in this game as well. And thank God, because I love that. I love that too. See, I had a cuss word written there and I didn't read it. Really good job, Brooke. So yeah, looks really good. Sets the small town mystery scene, no doubt. But this demo, it's a really short demo. If you've been listening to us for a while, you already know that for any game that I review, that has any tutorial, you basically need to triple the amount of time it would take a child or other regular player to complete that tutorial if you're going to have me do it. And that's how long it's generally going to take me. That being said, the demo for this game It took me less than 10 minutes, and I did it a couple different times to kind of see how it would vary too. So yeah, you're a writer here. You're trying to piece together the story of why a comet is going to crash into this small town, destroying it, but none of the people will leave. That's your big scoop. Your first task is to walk around the yard of the house that you're staying at, start talking to the lady in the garden, make a couple dialogue choices that are sort of going to set the scene here for what the story's going to do. You make a couple choices, just making conversation with her while you're chatting, and this is how the game lets you know you're going to have to make timed dialogue choices in this game. A lot like Telltale games do, if you're familiar with those. She asks how you've been sleeping, if you choose to say you've been sleeping poorly, or that you've been sleeping better thanks to her yesterday. That's all you. But either way, the two of you are going to talk about how you sure haven't been sleeping well. You've been having some really weird dreams too, and you've never really slept so poorly like this before, and you haven't had these weird dreams before. Very strange for you. So you go find the van. She wants you to go take the van and interview this old man down the road. He's your first interview. You take the van, you drive it, you crank it up, you drive it. Now you're on the van. Now you're on the road. You're going to drive down the dirt road to get to his house. And once you're there, you get out of the van to try to talk to him. He ignores you for a bit. His AI is pretty good, so depending on how close you are to him physically when you start talking to him, he's either going to just totally ignore you and start stacking some cans, or you're going to get in his way and he'll kind of talk to you a little bit more. And you get into the interview with him. He lets you know he hasn't been sleeping well either, just like you and the lady down the road. He's been having these weird dreams. But when you press him more to talk about the dreams, he kind of just like snaps. He loses it on you, starts yelling. He says he's not going to talk more about it. He kind of spazzes out on you a minute, but then kind of randomly he asks you, hey, have you ever heard about how when people are from small towns and everybody's acting weird, they say stuff like, there's something in the water? You say, yeah, I've heard that phrase. He says, well, in our town's case, I think it's true. I think there's something wrong with us. Maybe there's something in the water. And you press him to talk more, but he just kind of freaks out again. He says he can't talk about it. He screams at you. You end up just leaving, going back to the house you're staying, which is another beautiful waterside house next to the creek. And across the creek, you can still see his house. That's kind of neat, right?
Are the trees still carnivorous?
They are, my friend. They sure are. So it's kind of neat that you can see his house until in the middle of the night you hear an explosion. You look out your window and it is his house. It's on fire. You're standing there saying, what the fuck? Did that just happen? And
4 minutes we made it.
And I said the F word again. This is a good time for me to leave, everybody. I'll just see myself out. Aki could do it, and I didn't. I failed, 2-3 times?
That is twice
cool.
in a row you failed, yeah. That's funny.
I wasn't going to share this with our studio audience here, but I did say I wasn't feeling good to the private chat before, so that's my excuse. So. I'm feeling kind of crummy, but I want to, make it up to you guys. I want to do, a 10 minutes. It's just not fair to strap y'all with this. I'm going to have to get with Scott and, make a deal. I don't know.
I'm going to pay him off.
Be like, hey, man, what do you want? $4.20, 69 cents. What do you want, man?
I'm good for it.
Dude, I really do want it. And, I want this immortalized. The Aki actually did fine. She didn't have to restart once, and I messed up 3 times. I'm kind of glad this happened. I think... Does
that mean that you're now the SML swear champ?
Oh, God. For the time being, I'm going to wear that heavyweight belt.
You're the champ.
Remove the stone of shame.
Oh, man, you guys.
Oh, man. So we stay behind. You mentioned it's only a little 10-minute brief demo. Is it enough to whet your appetite so that this is something that you want to wish list and keep your eye on? Or is it something that you played it and you're like, I'm good with this? I don't. What are your thoughts on it?
Do you know how much they're going to charge for the game?
No clue. We don't have any pricing or release date information. Basically, all we can say is whether or not people should wish list it or if they should check out the demo, which is available now as part of Steam Next Fest. Yes, should people check out the demo? Should they wish list it? What should people do?
That's so tough because I feel like this is really dependent on price. I personally, I'm going to try it. I'm going to wish list the game. I'm going to play it either way, but that's because I'm already an established fan of Backwoods Entertainment. Backwoods, if you guys are listening to me, I love you. I lost my shit. I lost my crap for your game. And I just went nuts on y'all. I still feel that way about y'all, but if I didn't already know of your studio, it would really be a toss-up as opposed to price. If we're looking at 15 or less, given the content that I've experienced in the game, which is so short and there's not a lot of gameplay, I think I would check it out. But if we're looking at 2025, like for how short of a demo this is, like I think some people could be done with this demo in 5 minutes. So that's a hard call. I'd say that I for sure would keep my eye on it. And this is my first like preview review for the show. So maybe next time I could come a little more prepared with like whether it substantially whet my appetite. But if I'm being honest here, I got to stick to my code. I'm sure this game is going to be great because they are great. And I think the game has great vibes to it. But if I'm going to be totally honest here, I just don't know yet.
Fair to say. It's too early to tell. But again, people can check out the demos part of Next Fest and wishlist it if you were interested in the game. So, all right, Brooke, that is it for you. Did you want to stick around or did you want to get going? I know you're not feeling the best.
I'm going to pop off. I'm really sleepy and I have a very cool job interview tomorrow that I need to prepare for. So
I'm very excited for you about that. So
if I get it, I'm probably going to become the Harvard guy and just say the company name all the time. So get ready for that. And thank you to the SML team for the support and the well wishes.
Hell yeah.
Good night, you guys.
Good night.
Carnage, any final words? Fuck Scott.
We will speak on in the DMs, my friend Scott. We'll be talking.
I mean, you literally just reset the clock, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, you guys.
You didn't do it. Joe just did it.
I'm the one person who has my crap written out. I normally don't cuss very much. I should have been the one to be able to handle this, and I didn't. I really dropped the ball. I dropped it all over you guys, so enjoy.
Should have been the one. Save the day.
Night, you guys.
Later.
See you later. All right. Moving on, next game to talk about is Gravitar Recharge, developed by AdamVision Studios and SneakyBox, published by Atari, released June 2nd on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, and PS5 for $9.99. A lone pilot far from home must navigate an abstract universe of uncharted planets and space stations guarded by mysterious hostile aliens in Gravitar Recharged. Will you ever make it home? Pernell, can you make it home?
Nope. No. Absolutely not. This game is hard as crap. The timer is running right.
Yes.
Making sure. Yeah, this game is extremely challenging. It's an arcade-style game with the premise being that you are a lone ship in outer space. And this is if you are playing the arcade mode, mind you. You are dropped into the middle of space. And you're just kind of floating because the sun is in the middle of the screen and it has a gravitational pull. And if you press no buttons, you will die because you'll collide with the sun. But fortunately, you do have a propulsion button. And by pressing that, you can propel your ship in the direction that it is facing. You can turn your ship in various directions by using the left thumbstick. And that's how you pretty much determine what direction you're going to be propelling yourself in, as well as firing your gun into. Firing your gun is basically the right trigger button, and that fires by default a 3-shot volley that you can't turn off. So if you press the button, you go pew pew pew. You got to wait a little bit of a second, and then you can pew 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 again. No parsing them out. And believe it or not, that makes things a lot tougher than you might think. So once you're plopped out into space, you're immediately tasked with finding a planet to land on. The planets are orbiting the sun. So you try to fly towards one if you can spot it. You land on it, and then you're tasked with fulfilling a goal. You might be equivalent to either turning on 3 to 6 beacons. Beacons being objects that you kind of just have to fly in the vicinity of and hover near long enough to activate the beacon. Sometimes you just have to kill all the monsters or enemies that are in the area, and other times you might, destroy a specific object, like a reactor core that's hidden in the bottom of the planet. All these things are generally a matter of just progressing to the level and fulfilling the goal, and then once you've done so, you need to evacuate the planet. However, there are a few things you need to be concerned about. One, just your general health. If an enemy hits you and you don't have a shield up, basically the shield is the equivalent to saying you get hit once, okay, you're covered, you took that hit. If you get hit again, you're going to die. And over time, the shield will recharge. But if you take too many hits in succession, you will lose a life. You also have a water meter that continuously depletes even when you're searching for a new planet to visit. You can only refill it by finding a water pickup item and using the left trigger to pull it towards your ship. Once you do so, you'll refill your water meter. But if the water meter runs out, you will also die. So between those two things, you are constantly on pins and needles. And just controlling the ship, you're going to die a lot. Because one thing that a lot of games like this offer that this one doesn't, probably because it's based like a rebuild of an older game, is that there are no reverse thrusters in this game. So you can't do that thing where you kind of hover in space by teetering between the thrusters and the repulsion track, basically the reverse thrusters. You have to basically just project yourself forward, and if you need to turn around or stop yourself, you actually have to either let go and let gravity take its course, or turn the ship around and then hit the thrusters. And that is going to result in a lot of collisions, especially in the narrow spaces. And again, that's pretty much why I never found my way home, because I'll be lucky to complete 3 planets before running out of lives. And I find it doubly funny that the game has the audacity. Well, I'll admit this is for people who get better at the game, and they're not me. But it has the audacity to, at the beginning of the game, offer you point bonuses by turning off shields. It's like, who the heck's going to do that? I need those to live shortly longer or slightly longer. But you can turn off your shields, and there's like 2 other ones. One was like no power-ups where, because every once in a while you'll find like a gun that you can pick up, and it changes your firing type for a limited period of time. It's a timer that goes down. But you can turn those off. And there's one other one, whose name I don't remember. But they each offer you a multiplier bonus on your score, because like this being a classic game, it's all about getting that high score. You want to make it to the leaderboards and show that you're better than everybody else, and everyone's better than me. I'm hanging my head low in shame, but that's the way it goes. I'm old. So that's the main mode of the game. The alternate mode is that's a weird way to pronounce alternative. Alternate mode is mission mode, which is a series of tasks, such as what I described earlier: destroy the reactor, destroy these enemies, reactivate these beacons. And it's essentially just the biomes that show up on the arcade mode, but they're just you going directly to those, completing the task. And if you can pull it off, they grade you based on a number of factors. Not grade you, but they score you on a number of factors. And each of those missions has their own high scores. And you can basically just play and hope for the best compared to other human beings. As you progress through the missions, you'll unlock more missions. You'll be able to engage in those as well. I suck at this game, so you can guess how far I got.
Not far.
But not very at all. That doesn't make the game bad, though, because I think it does what it wants to do very well. The music in the game is perfectly atmospheric. It sets the mood for what you're doing. And even when you die, you don't really feel all that tense, because the music kind of keeps you cool, despite the fact that your own incompetence is festering the rage inside of you.
Soundtrack by the one and only Megan McDuffie.
Ooh, there you go. That explains it. Yeah, it's a good OST. She did a great job with this. I only wish there were more tracks, to be perfectly honest with you. But what's here is very good. I think, honestly, as long as you go in knowing that you're not buying a game where you're going to beat the game, like you're going to go from stage 1 to stage 20, unless you want to count the missions in that, which I almost kind of don't in this context because of how I described what they are. If you don't go in with that mindset, I think you'll have fun, because this is definitely the idea of a classic arcade style, get that high score from a series of random planets that show up in the atmosphere as you start each run. And you'll feel good about yourself. It's a good time. But if you're the type who needs to progress and upgrade your ship to get a better ship, or you need to constantly feel unchallenged, walk away. You're going to suffer.
Well, it's $10. What's your official verdict?
I give it a solid buy. Just know going in that you're going to be challenged. But knowing that in advance, it's fun. It's a good time and worth your money.
Cool. All right, next up is Spacewing War, developed by Pneuma Games and eastasiasoft, published by eastasiasoft, released June 8th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, and PS5 for $6.99. Invaders from planet Mavros have descended on Earth to claim it as their new home, and it's up to you to stop them. Spacewing War is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up inspired by handheld genre classics, presented in 4-tone pixel art style. This action-packed space adventure blends lighthearted sci-fi storytelling and deceptively simple mechanics with the depth of weapon juggling and tons of secrets to discover. Chris, tell us about your time with Spacewing War.
I feel like I shouldn't have to with a description that thorough.
Well, then $6.99. What's your verdict?
Yeah, pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so yeah, and I should do my due diligence because everyone else did. Spacewing War. So this is a basically a Game Boy side-scrolling shooter 'em up or shmup or shmup if you really want to throw that R in there. Yeah, shmup. I'm amusing myself. Yeah, so this is, and it's pretty convincing actually. I mean, there's not a whole lot of side-scrolling shoot 'em ups that were available on the Game Boy back in the day. The only two I can really think of, well, I guess there's like three I could think of, but like, you know, something like Nemesis, which was a Gradius spin-off, or like R-Type was on there. And then, like, from Japan, my favorite, Sagaya, which is, you know, that's a great shooter. So, you know, there wasn't a whole lot, but there was some. And yeah, this one does feel like it kind of belongs in there. It is very evocative of both something like, I would say a little bit like Glaylancer, only in the sense that you have a bunch of weapons that you can scroll through at any time and use them. And it also has, I would say it probably has the most elements of like Gradius and also Fantasy Zone, because Fantasy Zone is like this big, you know, kind of goofy looking, you know, colorful thing. But it plays like Gradius. So you are a ship. There's not much else to say there. And you have to navigate these 7 stages of, you know, difficulty that does eventually scale up to pretty hard. But yeah, first 3 levels, you're going to be like, what is this? And then you'll finally get to like, you know, level 6 or something. And you're like, oh, okay, this is actually hard. It involves not only shooting down enemies, but also navigating, usually through treacherous paths, you know, snaking through mazes and things like that. And, you know, of course, doing the thing where you take the one wrong turn and end up in a wall, you know, without knowing it. So you just kind of have to, like, memorize it. But, you know, there's a lot of difficulty settings, and, like, at the easy one, it's pretty forgiving. Plus, lives abound in the game, so like you end up like with quite a lot of them. Stages are divided into sections as well, so you don't have to start the whole stage over again if you die, so you could just start the section of the stage over, which is pretty cool. Anywho's, so yeah, the main draw of this one is going to be the weapon system, which is very simple. There's no power-ups, there's nothing like that. You basically get a straightforward shot, and if you push the X button, you will then scroll to a pair of boomerangs that will shoot out of both sides of the ship, and then you know, move in the opposite path at that point, and you know, they kind of stay on the screen, so you know, that's pretty good for strategically, you know, throwing a boomerang at an enemy, but then dodging, but then still have the boomerang hit them, you know, things like that. And then there's one where you throw out giant cartoon bombs, which is just kind of a slow but heavy attack, great for bosses. And then there's the spread shot, which is kind of a shotgun style thing. It's 3 shots in the front, 1 shot in the back, but it's only half the screen in length, so it's for getting kind of closer to the enemies. But great for you know, great for like I said, since you're going to be snaking through like, you know, some maze-like pathways, then you know, it's great to have that short distance kind of, you know, spread. So yeah, that's the main thing there. You know, bosses are big and goofy. And oh, actually, you know what? The thing that this reminds me the most of is the final stage of Super Mario Land, where you're actually flying in a ship and it's basically a shmup section. But it is kind of like that because, again, you have to go through, like, you know, tunnels and stuff. You know, enemies are big cartoony things. And actually, one of the stage bosses is this, like, inky black alien in a saucer, which is basically the final boss of Super Mario Land. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, that's that. There's some pretty interesting, like, options here, like for instance the color palette swapping, which is very evocative of like the Super Game Boy. If you know, the Super Game Boy always had like four different sets of like all these different palettes that you could choose from. Like 2 or 3 of them looked really good, and then the rest were just gaudy trash. And this is no different. This features 50 color palettes. They said over 40, but I'm going to go ahead and reveal that the actual number is 50. But you got your simple black and whites, your simple like monotones, but then you've got just like your crazy ass like bright blue against bright green, Easter egg colors, and then like all purple, and just all kinds of wild stuff that you could swap around at will. And I mean that's kind of all there is to say about it. There's story mode, and then there's 4 locked up things, and I haven't beaten this game yet, so I don't know what those locked things are, but apparently there is more content in here than meets the eye.
Nice. Well, the game is sitting at $7. What do you think?
Yeah, this is easily worth $7, yo. I mean, the Switch has no shortage of fantastic shmups on it, so it kind of, as soon as you get into a couple, I think everybody starts to turn into a collector, and this is a fine addition to that collection. And if you are more attuned to like retro games, but you're not that good at shmups, this is a great like baby's first shmup.
Nice.
In easy mode, of course. Like I said, it does ramp up the challenge eventually, but I think this is a good one for getting used to the genre if you're, you want to get into it, but you're not ready for a bullet hell type situation.
Cool. All right. Well, next game to talk about is Ashina, the Red Witch, developed by Stranga, published by GrabTheGames, released June 4th on Steam for $9.99. Join Ash on a journey of Join Ash on the journey of an after lifetime. Why couldn't I say that? Travel through a mysterious spirit world filled with strange creatures, interesting characters, and memorable moments. Ash must find her way back home and save her sister from the powers that be. Pernell, tell us about your time with Ashina, the Red Witch.
My game of the episode that I need to finish up, but I was surprised by how much I liked what I was playing of it so far. The reason why I was drawn to it when you offered it to me, though, is because the graphical style. It reminded me of something like The Escapist, as far as like the character sprites and all are concerned. But then actually playing the game, I came to enjoy the atmosphere that they created and what you were doing. The main character's name is Ashina, and aside from the description that they gave at the beginning, just the beginning part is worth noting because otherwise, since it's a narrative game, you kind of can't talk about anything else, is the fact that at the very beginning of the game, you're in an apartment building talking with your sister. Things seem fairly normal, typical 20-somethings that are frustrated with the current trajectory of their lives and wishing things were a little different. Then Ash goes to bed and wakes up to a weird, freaky kid inside of her apartment. How to get there, no one freaking knows. And he steals a family heirloom that is precious to her. And somehow she ends up running after him and ending up at a bus stop akin to something from like My Neighbor Totoro, and a bus that she boards that takes her to the spirit world. And the game is essentially trying to find your way out of this predicament, because if she's in the spirit world by what time the sun comes up, she will be trapped there. And apparently you don't want to be trapped in the spirit world, despite the fact that everyone there seems to be really cool. And I don't know, it just seems like a place you'd want to stay. So the game is a series of dialogue choices where you're talking to individuals that you meet there. You learn more about them. You learn more about the atmosphere and the world that you're in, and just everything through the series of dialogue choices. And to progress through the story, you usually find yourself in a situation where someone can help you do a thing, or someone needs something done in order to progress further. And in order to help them, you need to find one or more items and give them to them, basically key items. You look around, you explore the environment, you find objects. If you find it, it goes in your inventory. You take it to the character who needs it, use it from the inventory, and you trigger the response. That's the gameplay pretty much. But it's an adventure game, so there's not much to expect from that. But what I can say is that the music is really nice. I adore the freaking graphics in this game, very much so. And the writing is good too. I enjoy reading the conversation that the characters are having with each other. They come up with some rather hilarious bits, some frustrating ones here and there too. Not frustrating in a bad way, just more like it's not all fun and games all the time. But it's very entertainingly written. I think it's a fun time. I can't go about so far as to say buy it yet because I haven't beaten it, but I can say that my time with it has been enjoyable so far, and I like to hope that it would carry on to the finale. So, I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's fun. And that's pretty much all you can really expect out of an adventure game is for the writing to be solid and the puzzles to not be stupid. And I think it succeeds in both of those.
And it's from the creator of My Big Sister, which we reviewed some time ago. Back in 2019, I think. Yeah, Stranga did My Big Sister, which is the same but like more horror themed. Okay. And yeah, the Stranga is apparently a one-person development team. I know because I kickstarted this game.
Have you got a chance to mess with it yourself yet?
Not the full version. I played through the demo and.
What did you think of the demo?
It was good. I agree with all your points, and I also liked My Big Sister. So I just need to sort out the time to actually play this one since it's on Steam. Like, I hardly play games on the computer unless it's for this show. So
trust me, I'm in the same boat. It's funny too because I'm like now I'm in a position where I have access to a laptop that can run it. I could just connect to my TV downstairs if I felt like it, and I'm still like, I got a Switch right here. So Switch. So yeah. I don't know.
I think we're all that way. But Ashina the Red Witch is sitting at $10 on Steam. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to give it a high-end try it. Because like I said, I don't want to outright say buy it and having someone get to like, I got to the game. It's a piece of shit, Pernell. I'm like, well, screw you, buddy. But I can genuinely say high-end try it because I'm liking what I'm playing. Very much so. I think it's a good time.
Cool. Chris, any thoughts you want to add?
I mean, I did buy it, so I believe I pledged more than $10 for it too. So, but no, yeah, I think this is a good one for folks who really like the aesthetic of not real old school, but Final Fantasy IV era RPGs, early '90s type stuff. But aren't necessarily looking for a whole ass RPG adventure. It's just more Studio Ghibli by way of, early Final Fantasy. It's kind of how I think about it.
Yes.
So I think it's very compelling, and I also, I like where the creator's at on their attitude about this stuff. So I like to support this. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a buy it.
Cool. All right, we got one final game to talk about tonight, and that is a preview of Super Trunko Go, developed and published by 88 Polygons. This one is scheduled to release the beginning of 2023, but we're getting an early look at it now. Super Trunko Go is a challenging twin-stick shooter that takes place in a thrilling space world. Navigate our hero Trunko and help him restore peace back to the planet. Chris and Pernell, both of you check this one out. Who wants to start?
Chris, check this one out.
What?
He said, Pernell and Chris, check this one. I was like, Chris, check this one out. Because I realized, I was like, as you were saying, Super Trunko, I was like, uh-oh.
Oh,
so,
you did.
I'm so glad Pernell pays attention to the show lineup.
Well, I was running behind. I ran 4 miles.
Yeah.
All right, well, Chris, tell us about Super Trunko Go.
I ran 0 miles, so I have no excuse. But in fact, I did play this one, so phew. That's okay. I totally forgot to play a game once before reviewing it, so it's all good. It happens here in the world of indie podcasting. So Super Trunko whatever. Super Trunko Go demo. This places you in the role of a very cute space robot elephant. I don't know. I can't tell if it's a robot, an elephant wearing a robot, a robotic type suit, or if it's an actual robotic elephant. It's cute and sprite based. So, it's kind of it's actually more cell shaded. Actually, I'm not gonna call it sprite based. And yeah, your mission is to I don't know, do something. You start off. It very much it kind of has that roguelike feel of you start off in a thing. You grab your 2 guns that you can switch between, which is one of them is a machine gun style shot. One of them is a slower and more powerful shot. Where have we heard this before? One's purple, one's green. And you have limited ammo for both. So that's, you have no free ammo in this game, which is, interesting. for a twin
Does it
stick shooter.
replenish on its own, or
no? You got to pick it up, and either there's going to be ammo scattered across like corners of the different rooms, or you can like blow up boxes and hope that there's one in there. But of course, that expends your ammo, so that's a gamble. And plus, boxes act as your cover sometimes, so like you kind of want to keep that to a minimum. Well, I don't know about fortunately, but this isn't a roguelike because the levels, the stage in the demo is set up exactly the same way every time. I don't know if there's plans to randomize it or if they're going to have like a whole different thing. I just don't know at this point. But yeah, it's the same level, so like you can kind of just get a sense of like, oh yeah, if I busted open this box and there's some ammo inside and stuff, and it's not exactly scarce, but I did run out of like one or the other gun if I leaned on it too heavily. So you walk through doors and enemies come at you. Some of them shoot, some of them don't. Some of them, you can, like I said, seek cover from them and try to take them on one at a time. It's not usually a good idea to just charge at them because you have, like an elephant would. But, health is scarce in the game. Health drops, rather. So, yeah, you kind of do have to conserve your life and such. So it's, like you have several shots before you eat it. But here's the thing is that once you do eat it, you start the entire thing over. I did not run into a single checkpoint, and I got fairly far in. The thing that finally did it for me is I got further than I'd ever been before, and I got into this room and then just instantly walked off the edge of the map because I had no idea that they were going to put edgeless maps in this thing, because it was, there was a rail for the whole time that I couldn't just walk off the stage. So I just walk off the stage because I'm backing away from an enemy, like out of habit, and then I had to start the entire thing over again. And I was like, from the beginning, and I was like, no. And I shut it down. So that's my adventure with this game. There's not much else to say, really.
Well, to be fair, it is a very early preview demo that we're taking a look at. The game's not scheduled to release at least for another few months. The developer is mainly just looking for any kind of feedback that they can get. So what kind of feedback do you have for this game? What would you change? What would you update? What would you address to make it a more enjoyable game?
So I kind of got the sense that they were, because they're going for like something that's kind of cute, maybe funny. I would maybe put in some more, I don't know, just maybe put a little more like humor or personality into it. Like at the moment, it's just a tile floor and boxes and enemies. I've already forgotten what they are. Like I said, some of them shoot, some of them don't. They're all robots, I think. You gotta, maybe inject a little bit of 90s attitude in it and call it like, this pachyderm packs a punch. You can have that for free. I'm giving that to you. You don't even have to cut me in on that one. But I think just throwing in a little bit more spice into things. Checkpoints for sure, or shorter levels, or more health drops. Pick one. Because unless they are planning for it to be like an endurance style, like roguelike kind of thing, which I didn't really get that sense that that's what they were going for necessarily. I would say, kind of pick a lane on how you want the game to kind of unfold like that. Because if it's a roguelike, okay, then make it, just call it that and make it so. But if it's more of like an adventure, then I would recommend like maybe having enemies drop health. I don't think enemies drop anything really. Or just make it a little more available. It's really just that. It's that once I fell off of the edge of part of the level and had to start the whole thing over again, like after my 5th or 6th try getting that far, I was not that motivated to keep on playing it. So
yeah, I can understand that being soul crushing.
Not soul crushing. I play NES games that are like that all the time, and some of them I even enjoy. But I'm just gonna say it did like diminish my motivation to the point where I was like, well, I got other games to play. But what I do like about this game is I like the aesthetics. Music's great, graphics are great. I do like what they're going for. Obviously, I know they're going to have more than 2 guns in this game, but that's all I saw in my experience of it. So I'm hoping for a little bit more variety there. A melee attack would be great. Something that you can do that's endless. That you can again, if you're going for an endurance style type of game, then give us something that we can fight back with when we run out of ammo or whatever.
Yeah.
Another thing I do like is that it's a twin stick shooter, but if you just face the enemy, then it does have a little bit of auto aim, so you actually don't have to be super precise. Sometimes the game will kind of take care of you on that one, and I like that.
Yeah, like when games have aim assist, that's always a helpful thing.
Yeah, a little bit of assist.
All right. Well, is this something that people should keep their eyes on? It's still a ways out, but should people give it a wish list, or should people keep their eyes on it?
Yeah, I mean, if you've always wanted to play a twin stick shooter with an elephant, this is your chance.
Yeah, it looks cute. Hopefully, when it's closer to release, we could take another look at it, and if we do, we'll update people on it. But for now, it looks like it's enjoyable, although it's too early to really tell. So.
Yeah, it's, the bones of it are good. So I would say if you're interested in this phase of a twin stick shooter's development, then sure, go ahead.
That's good framework. They just need to build off it.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Well, that is it for this episode. Made it through another one. Thanks you two for...
Only lost 2 people along the way.
We lost half the crew along the way. They died, but dysentery took them, and then we fjorded the river, and we lost
pretty
Tim
good for an action adventure. Way good for a horror film. So
I like that. I like those odds. That means the black guy made it.
Hell yeah.
That is pretty cool that the black guy made it through the horror movie.
Damn right. We get screwed over on all of those things.
Well, then we'll give you the final words, Pernell. What final words do you have for the episode?
When you see a monster and you hear about a freaking creepy wooded experience or whatnot. Oh, let me rephrase that. Start over. When you hear about a spooky environment and people want to go exploring it because they're wondering what the big deal is, take your ass home. Don't do it. Let them die on their own time. There's your words of wisdom from me. And that's it. You can end the show now.